I'm Aaron Matte, sitting in for Jimmy Dore, here with the miserable liberal, Steph Samarano, and Americans comedian Kurt Metzger. And this happened recently in Washington, D.C., the rage against the war machine. Voices from the left and the right coming together to support peace in Ukraine, call for diplomacy. And
sounds random.
You mean rage for the Putin machine?
Well, one person who agrees with that, Kurt, is MSNBC's Rachel Maddow. This is how she covered it.
And I mean truly random rally on the National Mall in Washington, D.C. A rally in support of Russia, I guess, given all the Russian flags. At least a rally against the U.S. supporting Ukraine in trying to stand up against the Russian invasion of them.
It was a rally against using Ukraine for a proxy war against Russia. And yes, there were a few Russian flags there. People were there to call for peace, and even some speakers denounced the Russian invasion. So this effort by her to portray this as just some pro-Russian rally.
Well, they paid money to have the people come with the flag. She's not gonna. She's gonna mention it.
Country. This was a tiny event. It was small. It was a weird assemblage of Americans. There were Proud Boys there. There were some of the.
And he has all flags, Rachel.
Exactly. Yeah. There were no Proud Boys.
No actual Nazis like the ones we support in Ukraine.
Yeah, there were no Proud Boys invited there. Maybe some people were on the fringes of the march.
By the way, what is the terror attacks the Proud Boys did besides, I don't know, fist fight other idiots in the street?
I mean, they've been violent, but yes.
With who? Antifas? Do I give a shit about that?
The Proud Boys have done some violent stuff. I
like
think.
What?
Well, I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't
no
follow
one can
them.
name it. Isn't it weird? I know I hate them.
Yeah.
But every time I go, well, what did they do? There's no.
They're certainly less violent than the Asap Battalion, that's for sure. But the point is, even her saying that they're there is
a smear.
It's a smear. It's totally deceitful because you can't control who might show up at your rally. The point is, who did you invite and who did you feature? And who you're featuring are people who want peace, and that's what she can't. That's what she doesn't want. So she's going to try to smear everybody.
What if the Proud Boys went to go help fight in Ukraine? I'll bet she'll be talking about how proud she is of them.
I wouldn't be surprised if that's happened, and she's very on board with that.
White supremacist group she'd recognized from the Unite the Right rally in Charlottesville a few years ago.
Again, at the actual Charlottesville rally, there are people there who are allied with the Azov Battalion because they're all white supremacists. And Rachel Maddow is
also having the same march.
Yeah.
She's got balls doing that's like she's like a NIMBY Nazi supporter, just not in my backyard.
Also represented prominently the remains of the bizarre Lyndon LaRouche cult. There were a lot of people with Russian flags, also the occasional flag of the former Soviet Union.
Union.
Also, at least one person who guest hosts for Tucker Carlson on the Fox News channel.
Yeah, again, and we covered this. She couldn't even say Tulsi Gabbard's name, even though she used to refer to Tulsi Gabbard as a shining star and bringing on her show all the time. All right, that's enough of Rachel Maddow. But that wasn't the only coverage on MSNBC of Rachel Maddow. And Dan Cohen uncovered this. And he says this: while Maddow and Joy Reid melted down over Americans uniting against nuclear war, MSNBC also aired an honest news report that included this image. They didn't upload it to YouTube, but I dug the piece up and he uploaded it. So if Rachel Maddow had watched her own network's coverage, she might have actually found out what the rally was really about and not all the false things that she said about it.
She's a headliner. She doesn't watch the other news that's beneath her.
And this was that MSNBC coverage.
Today, the Libertarian Party and the People's Party are holding a Rage Against the War Machine rally at the Lincoln Memorial to protest billions in funding for Ukraine. Joining me now is NBC's Marissa Parra. Marissa, welcome to you. So what are you seeing at this rally? What's the tenor of it?
There are those who are here because they are anti-war as a whole, because of the cost of human life. Those are the ones that are carrying the anti-war or world peace-like signs. But then there are those who say that we shouldn't be involved in this war. Perhaps some of them, as we've spoken to a number of them in the crowds here, some are pro-Russia. Others are saying we should not be involved as the United States because of the cost, whether it's dollars and cents or just the cost overall. Some of them saying that in general, when it comes to U.S. involvement, it's just at too great of a toll. Take a listen.
I mean, this is the fate of humanity on the line right here. We have to avoid a nuclear war. That's what it comes down to.
We've had too much we need money for here. We have gone through Korea, Vietnam, Afghanistan, Iraq, all these wars. We've lost every one of them. We've spent trillions of dollars. You know, why don't we take care of America first?
Totalitarianism is an act
of subversion.
So this is a nonpartisan presence here. We've seen a number of libertarian or independent signage here. We're expecting to hear from speakers like Ron Paul and Tulsi Gabbard. And as we mentioned, we're approaching the one-year anniversary of Russia's invasion of Ukraine. So regardless of their reasons for being here, the people that are here, that is a diverse array of opinions, but they believe that we as the United States should not be involved. Alex?
Okay, Marissa Parra, thanks for keeping us updated there.
And that was a rare moment when MSNBC actually allows protesters to speak for themselves and articulate a very simple position, which is that we shouldn't be funding this disastrous proxy war. And
How'd that happen?
It's a great question. And Rachel Maddow, of course, can't even listen to her own network's reporting, has to go and smear these people as just being Russian dupes and white supremacists and all the usual stuff. But as Dan Cohen points out, this segment was not uploaded online by MSNBC. It was only on the air. And I think that's because this reporter accidentally told the truth. But so here's Dan Cohen. After weeks of mainstream media silence, MSNBC accidentally reported on Seymour Hersh's bombshell story about Biden blowing up the Nord Stream pipeline. And he thanks the video editor because this would made it into the MSNBC report. Biden is the Nord Stream bomber. And that's a rare case of MSNBC telling the truth and undermining the spin put on it by MSNBC's top propagandist, Rachel Maddow.
By the way, it sounds like his secret identity, like a Batman. When he was talking about how he's going to basically blow it up, he goes, "We'll get rid of it." And they go, "How?" He goes, "We've got our ways." Like, da, 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 da. He goes in his Biden cave and gets in his bombing outfit.
So that was MSNBC. And if they can give more than a minute of coverage and pretty accurate coverage to the voices of these protesters, then certainly Democracy Now!, a leading progressive news show, they're going to cover this even better, right? They're going to give this extensive coverage. They're going to play clips. We're going to hear from the speakers like Dennis Kucinich, a longtime progressive lawmaker. This is how Democracy Now! Covered it.
Sunday in Washington, D.C., there was also a Rage Against the War Machine protest at the Lincoln Memorial, where former Green Party presidential candidate Jill Stein and others spoke.
That's it. 9 seconds from Democracy Now!
Was she always like that? Like,
No.
Like I always knew Cenk was a sack of shit. I know Jimmy worked for him, but I always knew he sucked. But she never struck me as like that much of a like. She looks like the groundskeeper from Hogwarts, by the way.
Things have changed there. And the point is that even MSNBC did a better job of covering this rally than Democracy Now! And of course, than their chief Russiagate propagandist, Rachel Maddow. So Rachel Maddow being exposed this time by her own network's actual reporting about a rally she tried to smear.
Did I tell you one time I remember falling asleep? This was years ago in a hotel. I fell asleep with MSNBC on, and I just saw it was Chris Hayes, Rachel Maddow, and then Chris Matthews. And because I fell asleep, and it was like time-lapse footage of a lesbian aging.
Doing live stand-up comedy in Tempe, Palm Springs, Milwaukee, Nashville, Northampton, Massachusetts, Syracuse, Cohoes, New York, and Hartford, Connecticut. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for tickets and become a premium member. Get access to all our content.